Hey, Inner Sanctum fans, got a big treat for us today. Joining us live from Colorado in the US, where he's training for the upcoming Olympic Games. None other than Olympic flyweight contender Alex Winwood. Alex, how are you going?
Very good, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, excellent. Look, it's been a bit of a process for you to get to the Olympics. Obviously, you qualified last year, had the setback with COVID and everything like that, shutting the games down. But how does it finally feel to be going?
Yeah, it's fantastic. We're here for another 2 weeks. We only got here 4 days ago. So everything's fast approaching. We'll be going into Japan a little bit earlier and then arriving in the village, and yeah, it's all looking good.
No, awesome. How has the training been over in Colorado? Obviously, you said you've only been there for 4 days, but with Team USA over there, games kicking in 6 weeks, how's the preparation been?
Yeah, it's been good. We haven't joined Team USA yet. We're still in a 5-day isolation period where we have to take 2 tests. First COVID test will be tomorrow morning, and then one on Monday morning. And I think Tuesday we'll be able to join them. But we're up at a high altitude at the moment, so it's a bit taxing on the lungs and stuff. Obviously, just to get that bit more prep in, things like that. A little bit of time to settle in, especially to the altitude. It's fairly tough out here. So once we join them on Tuesday and start sparring and things like that, it should be fairly well acclimatized.
Was that part of the decision to go to Colorado, the whole high altitude thing? Obviously, it's got a lot of benefits for a lot of athletes. You know, if you can compete at high altitude with some of the best in the world, you can do whatever you can on ground level, sea level. Was that part of the process, or was it just more so to join up with the US team?
It was complementary to the decision. The main decision was the fact that we haven't had any fights since qualifying, or we haven't had any international exposure. So the main key was to get a bit of international exposure. We was first looking at Thailand, but then Thailand changed their quarantine rules. So it went from 5 days to 14-day quarantine period. So that's why we had to rule that out. And then obviously just with the base being up in Colorado Springs, it was just, the icing on top to get that high altitude training at the same time.
Oh, awesome. Well, I mean, you can't get much better prep than that. Obviously, you've got a very decorated team that you're going to be competing against as well. But that's sort of not the only elite level training you've done as well. Obviously, back home, you've trained with the Maloney Brothers, who have competed for Australia at top level Com Games, Olympics. They've also competed for world titles. Fought some of the best of the world, of course. What are some of the lessons that you've sort of taken from those two on their camp up in Kingscliff that have sort of held you in good stead coming into the games?
Yeah, probably just like their work rate. I take a lot from them. They still have a very similar style to the amateurs. They've got big tanks. They work hard. They've got a lot of good technical ability. They've helped me out with some things in the camp, just through sparring, things like that. They've told me a couple of tips that I should be working on and things like that, which was already highlighted. So it was good to know that that like I can get sort of advice from them. I do respect them a lot, and they're like leading the way for younger fighters and things like that. So to have advice from people like them has just been fantastic.
Yeah, that's sort of the vibe we get from a lot of people. I've interviewed a couple of their ex-sparring partners, like TC Priestley, who's the Australian super featherweight champion. Vegas Larfield's trained with them as well, and they've just said the same thing. Their professionalism is just incredible. It's off the charts. So no, it's good to see that a lot of people they're making themselves accessible to a lot of people. Is really cool to see. I just want to sort of touch on Australia's Olympic history in boxing. We've got a very proud history of Indigenous fighters that have represented Australia. We've had world champions like Bomber Pedden. Daniel Gill has gone on to win world titles. Then you've also got someone who's very well respected on the Australian scene in Paul Fleming. What does it mean to you to be able to add your name to that list?
It's an honour. I think it's quite undescribable, really. Like, very proud, obviously. There are a lot of great names. They've obviously done a lot of great things. in the amateurs and in the pros, most of them. So it's just, it's very good, very, very nice to hear that, really.
No, excellent. It's something, obviously you should be very proud of going to the Olympics. Yeah. It's an incredible achievement, mate. Just sort of on that sort of topic, just building on that, you're obviously from the Noongar Nation over in WA. We've just had a big showcase for Noongar people with the AFL game, the Dreamtime game, going over to be played in Perth. Is it sort of and we have obviously, of course, we have a lot of Noongar people representing, have past and present represented in the AFL. What does it mean to be able to showcase as an athlete for your people as well?
Yeah, I'm super proud of that. I'm not sure whether there has been another Noongar athlete that's went to the Olympics. So just knowing that, like, not too many of them have, thought that that's a sought after avenue through like being an athlete. Like, I know there's a super amount of footballers that came out of there. Like, a lot of them are ridiculously talented. So it would be fantastic for them to, like, know that there's other avenues for them to use their sporting ability and things like that. If they don't really, want to do AFL, like I wanted to do AFL, but I just didn't have the frame for it. And it's translated quite well to boxing, obviously. So, hopefully there's another generation that comes through that look at running and things like that, or any other Olympic type of sport.
No, very good, very good. It's cool to see someone like you using that platform to show another generation that they can do great things. It's really cool. Just on the team, you're obviously with a small contingent of fighters now. I'm not sure. Obviously, the whole team hasn't gone over because Justice Hooney's fighting this week, sorry, I should say. But there's a lot of buzz around this small team and what they can achieve. What's the feeling been among the whole team going into the Olympics? Obviously, 6 weeks out.
Yeah, so for the past, I think, 12 to 13 weeks, there's been me, Harry, Sky, and Caitlin, the four of us of the six, training together in the Gold Coast, and Justice obviously getting ready for his pro fights, and Paulie down in New South Wales, doing his prep there, and he's gonna end up meeting us in Japan a little bit early with Justice. But through conversations amongst ourselves, we're super confident in one another and in ourselves that we are going to be the most successful Olympic boxing team there has been. I think with the way that we have to qualify now through the Olympics and having to go through Asia and not just Oceania, we've all had to rise to the level and not just think we had to win an Australian title and fight New Zealand to go to the games. So we're all medal chances. It's one of the most skilled full teams that we've sent in a long time, and I'm super excited to see how well everyone goes.
Yeah, it's an absolute shark tank you've sort of got to go through now to get to the Olympics. I mean, obviously there's the Australian-New Zealand rivalry, but I mean, Thailand don't mess around when it comes to boxing and places like that. So yeah, to actually get there is a lot harder now. Look, thank you for sticking with us for however long you have so far, about 10 minutes or so. I will wrap it up with this one to finish. Just give us a bit of a prediction with that team. What can people expect, and why should we be excited about watching boxing, Australian boxing, at these games?
Well, everyone's showed that they can compete at world class level, and we've had medals amongst every one of us. So there's no reason that we can't go there and all take out a gold. It just comes down to the day and how everyone performs, and I think everyone has it in themselves to be able to do it. So with the roll of the dice, we'll go there, and we're going to show the world that we're actually here to compete and not just get tracksuits anymore.
Oh, excellent. That's exactly what I needed to get the hair standing up on the neck, mate. Look, Alex, thanks very much for your time joining us here today on the Inner Sanctum, and all the best for the rest of your training coming up.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you. There he is, Alex Winwood, Australian flyweight contender here at the Olympic Games. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to hit like and subscribe. For more sports content, be sure to check out our socials and website listed on screen now. Until next time, enjoy your sports and have a ripper day, everyone.